Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for our weekly preparation video. Tomorrow being August 25th. So today it is Sunday the 24th, and I hope everybody is having a blessed Sunday and a great weekend. I know myself, I am feeling amazing. It has been an awesome weekend, and Friday was a very bullish day within the markets. Just to recap, we had a lot of green to finish the week because Jerome Powell was at the Jackson Hole event, and there was some dovish remarks from the Federal Reserve Chairman. And so this is very exciting for the markets because all year long, the markets have been desperately wanting for the Fed to cut rates. As we've talked about many times, the three factors really affecting the markets and what has been the main storyline through the entire year have been inflation, tariffs, and then also interest rates, with interest rates arguably being the most important because we know historically when the Fed funds rate is down, the markets are up, and it will also help ease the housing market, which has been stagnant for some time. So right now the markets are feeling very bullish, very excited. When we look at the fear and greed index, investors are back at levels of greed. And again, that is because all year long we have been anticipating this rate cut. And so right now, the Fed has an 84% chance of cutting in September in the next meeting. But just like we talked about in our last video, there is a little bit of a preemptive celebration going on right now, potentially. Most likely the Fed will cut, but we do have a lot of big numbers on the economic calendar, and the markets really have been reacting with some knee-jerk reactions to what the Fed is doing. So let's just remember, as investors, this is a marathon and not a race. So what I have done personally, I did add to some great positions right before this announcement on Friday came out, but I also just added what I was comfortable with. So just as an investor, never be over leveraged, always have correct positioning, and just remember that this is a long game because right now things are looking very positive. But if the Fed chairman comes out and says anything that is the opposite direction and hawkish, we could see the markets sell off once again. Myself, I don't believe that will happen. I do believe that we will get that interest rate cut next month, but always be prepared. So with that being said, what could cause some fear, uncertainty, and doubt this week, when we look at the economic calendar, the main date that we are looking for is going to be on Friday. So this should be a big focus through the entire week because these numbers are going to be the PCE numbers, which are all around inflation and is the Fed's preferred method for measuring inflation. So if these numbers do come out high, inflation does look like it's upticked, this could change Jerome Powell's mind, and he could quickly Thanos snap the market, especially if he says something hawkish around inflation or the probability of them cutting greatly changes. So right now, again, there is an 84% chance, but just weeks ago, it was at 99%. So this number does fluctuate. It is not a perfect projection either. When it comes to the Fed funds rate, the only one that really knows right now is Jerome Powell, and even he may not know because, again, like he says, he is being data dependent and he could be looking at Friday. Again, that is not to put any fear, uncertainty, and doubt into investors, but just to caution you that the road could be a little bit rocky. But also, when we do look at the major indexes and what recently happened, this was a pretty big sell-off this week. So this did present a buying opportunity on the dip. And as we always talk about, dips are typically buying opportunities, especially if you have a long horizon on the markets. Because if you are trading in the short term, if anything hawkish does come out this week, there could be a little bit of a drop off. But if we are investing for the years to come, we definitely know that the major indexes will continue to push forward. And in general, things in the economy are looking positive. And so if the numbers do come out on Friday around PCE even better than expected, well, that is another thumbs up, and we could see the markets push even higher. And so also, with that being said, when we do go over to the earnings calendar, we do have NVIDIA reporting earnings on Wednesday. And with NVIDIA, they are one of those market movers. So many times when NVIDIA does have a positive earnings report, this could spark the markets and technology. And of course, NVIDIA right now, the biggest company when it comes to market cap on the stock market. So a lot of eyes on NVIDIA's earnings this Wednesday. Right now, the projection is that they will have a better earnings than their last. And that has been the case with NVIDIA. There is talks that NVIDIA won't miss an earnings for many, many years. We could see that they have had an accelerating growth. And so Wednesday should be an exciting day for the markets. A lot of eyes on NVIDIA. And what is also important about NVIDIA's earnings on Wednesday is, of course, we all know that NVIDIA is a big chip company, and recently the United States has invested into Intel. And when it comes to chip manufacturers, technology, and then also cryptocurrency, the United States wants to lead in all of these sectors. And so, of course, NVIDIA being out in Delaware, this is an American company. We know that they work with America. There's some restrictions with them working with China. And so if we see another positive earnings, this will be massive for the markets. When we go over to NVIDIA on the technical analysis, we could see that they are right at the 50-day moving average. We recently had the drop from the macros looking a little bit fearful in the markets, but when it comes to the relative strength index and the MACD, NVIDIA has came down quite a bit there also. So a potential buying opportunity if you believe in this company, especially if you believe in it for the long term, because with earnings, things are always unpredictable. And even if NVIDIA comes out with a good earnings, we could always see a drop off. Very unlikely. But again, I have seen amazing earnings reports before with some companies, but there was still a sell-off. And so this week in general, just a little bit unpredictable at what may come. The big days are going to be on Wednesday with NVIDIA reporting earnings, and then of course with the PCE numbers on Friday. And that's not to say that the other dates on the economic calendar aren't also important, but they shouldn't be as much of a market mover as Friday. But on Monday, we do have new home sales. On Tuesday, we do have the consumer confidence report. Wednesday is a no news Wednesday, nothing scheduled. And then Thursday, we do have initial jobless claims, the GDP numbers, pending home sales, and we do have Fed Governor Christopher Waller speaking. But overall, all of these events, I do believe, will pass through. And when we just talk about macroeconomic conditions that could really affect the market, again, inflation, tariffs, and then also interest rates. Those are the main focus of the market. So as long as everything stays on course with the way we finished with last Friday, with things looking dovish, with the numbers hopefully coming in positive on Friday, we should see this rally continue to push up. Things looking very bullish in the markets right now. Myself, I am also very bullish, but I would be curious to hear what everyone else thinks in the comments section below. Please let me know if this is just a bull trap or if you do believe that we are going to continue to rip up to new highs. I always love to hear from you guys. So yes, please drop that comment. Also, please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I thank you guys as always for being here, and I will see you in the next daily talk of stock.